like the Apostle Paul says, I don't know if I was in the body or out of the body. All I know is I was caught up to paradise. Well, I'm not claiming it was equal to that, but I'm saying it was more than a dream somehow. Because to this day, all these years later, it is so fresh. I can still smell the smells. I can still see the sights. Yes, I could smell smells. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was like I physically was somewhere else. But it wasn't an out-of-body experience that I knew I was out of my body. It was like, I thought it was a dream until I woke up, and then it was so startlingly real that it took me several years before I shared it with anybody, because it kind of freaked me out. Here's what happened. So I go to bed, go to sleep. All right. In my dream / vision, whatever, I dreamed that I was standing in a field, and it was nighttime, and I was looking at the expanse of the sky. I mean, I might have been in big sky country or something. I mean, there's no mountains, there were no buildings in front of me, just the horizon, the beauty of the heavens. It was breathtaking. Behind me, I could hear the sounds of life. I could hear horns honking, people talking, conversations. I couldn't make out specific words, but like multitudes of people talking, cheering, maybe watching a ball game. Heard babies crying, not in terror or anything, just baby talk and crying and people talking. It was the sounds of life. I never turned around. I don't know if I was prohibited from doing that. I had no inkling to do it. I was looking at the expanse of the sky. Beautiful, beautiful night. Hearing all of the sounds behind me of life. Not a care in the world. As I was watching the stars and constellations, and I can remember in my dream identifying a couple of the constellations that I know and literally seeing them. And then the next thing I know is that the stars begin to take on colors. And I see these colors in my dream, and I can remember thinking, not only is this beautiful, but this is very unusual. I don't know that I've ever seen this phenomenon before. And then I would see things streaking across the sky, maybe like a comet or something, but it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen with colors involved in it. And then some of the constellations began to kind of almost swirl, not like a fan, but I mean just kind of started moving like that. And then they started shifting positions a little bit. Then I can remember thinking, okay, something supernatural is going on. Now all this is happening in my mind as I'm watching. I'm still hearing the sounds of life. Then I hear the sounds of life behind me getting a little more panicked. It's like they're seeing it too, and they don't know what to make of it. I can remember that I didn't have a feeling of terror. I had a feeling of awe and wonder and thinking something is happening in the heavens. There's a shifting, there's a shattering, there's something is going on, supernatural. And then the stars appeared, literally, to fall from the sky. Not just fall, but to be zooming towards the earth. At the same time that it looked like, well, now I know the scriptures that talk about the heavens being rolled up like a scroll. It looked like almost like a dimensional shift that was taking place. And then the streaking coming down, and then the sounds of life behind me. Holy terror. People were shrieking, screaming. You could hear people, oh my God, and and then sirens were going off and warning sounds, and it was like something cataclysmic was happening. I'm still watching it. It was happening so quickly, and I remember thinking, well, I don't have any fear in me. The next thing I know, there's a presence beside me. I'm not allowed to look, or I didn't look, but I was aware that I was in the midst, the arms of a presence, or in the midst of a presence, a personal presence. And the next thing I know, I'm just being lifted up. And I'm not talking about some kind of cheesy movie of the rapture or anything. It's just, it was real, it was smooth, it was peaceful. I look over to my left, and now the whole time I hadn't looked left or right, but now look, my wife is right there. And she's such a woman of God, and she knew the Lord long before I did, and she's looking at me, she's smiling, and we just had this knowing look. We didn't even communicate, but we knew what was happening. And we get whisked up, and the next thing I know, it's like watching a Star Wars movie and warp speed. Everything just went, just into a streak and then to a flash of light, and boom, it's like we bursted through another dimension, if you will, a barrier of some sort. No fear ever. And I'm still aware of this presence, that we were under the control of a benevolent presence. And the next thing I saw was we busted through, I'm just going to call it a dimensional shift. We busted through another dimension, and before me was the most beautiful it had to be what the earth looked like when it was first formed by the hand of God. The colors were so vibrant. The smells, the air smelled like potpourri. I can still smell it sometimes. I saw what looked like villages, beautiful, beautiful little homes, and flowers everywhere. You could hear children off in the distance just laughing, having a blast. People, the peace was overwhelming. The sun was just magnificent. And I can remember asking the presence, is this heaven? Is this paradise? And then I heard the voice, and it just said, this is where you will live forever. Welcome home.